well, don't freak out. You are reading that correctly, but it's okay, I promise. Okay, so I am restarting the book, but it's still going to be the same characters and a lot of the same things, but better. You just have to trust me. Let me explain. It is week 7 of Let's Make a Book Baby, where I'm taking you from the very start of writing a book all the way until when I finish and actually publish it. This decision was not made lightly, and any other writer and author, I'm sure that you know how this feels. There comes a point where you either decide something is done, you're going to put it to the side, or you just have to plain redo it. And this is one of those times. I will say that I will still keep a lot that's in the book that I like. It's just that anything that I don't like, I don't want to feel obligated to keep, because right now that's the hole I've dug myself in, and it's bad. Here's how I discovered this happened. It is a 3-part saga. Started with 1, writing a trash book because I was trying to recharge my creativity. Then there was 2, the characters' personalities and the subject matter were not lining up with what I wanted this whole time. And finally 3, and the biggest one, the emotional side, as in the relatability side for the reader, which in my opinion is most important, was also not where I wanted to be, and I think I've identified why. Ultimately, these characters are not allowing me to write them as a slow burn. It doesn't work with their personality, it doesn't work with their backstory, and so I don't know why I'm pushing to make it work anymore. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. Starting with the first act of this saga, writing the trash book. If you don't know how I write, I like to do this thing where at the end of writing a book, when I'm really tired, or after I've done a lot of different things and need to recharge my creativity, but I don't feel like just playing a game or something, sometimes I will just write something that is purely for fun, purely for me, and that I will throw away. So I got an idea for a trash book and I was like, okay, I am so burnt out. It just all hit me last week. All of a sudden I was like, I literally feel like I am just losing it with how busy I've been, and I just need to do something fun. That was cue number 1. Why was I not having fun writing Ari and Marcus's book? It's ridiculous. It has all the things I like in it. I love the characters. So I was like, that's kind of alarming, but let me just put it aside and write trash. The reason why I call it trash is because I allow it to be trashy and weird and not make sense and just have the freedom. So clearly I was missing that in my book, because normally I think that I allow myself to do those things in general. Through that trash book, instantly was like, okay, clearly I can still write. So all of my OCD worries where I'm like, oh god, I'm not able to write anymore, my writing doesn't make any sense, that has to do with that story and what I'm doing in that story. It doesn't have to do with actually my actual writing. Because if I can write a rough draft trash story without rereading it once and then go back and reread the whole thing, and I'm like, wow, it makes perfect sense, I think I'm okay at writing. So I was like, shit, something is wrong that's deeper than that. That led me to Act 2 of this saga. I had taken a couple days away from it. I felt creatively recharged, as was the purpose of writing trash. But as I started to make myself get back into the book and I had new ideas, I was like, every time I'm writing them, it just feels like it's not them. Like, it just feels like I'm trying to push them into avenues that they just wouldn't go into. And particularly with the steamy scenes, because number 1, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just my brain, and because sometimes I'll just like jump to the extreme, sometimes that comes up in my writing, so I'll have to like take out the end of a chapter if I just make it really dramatic for no reason and like rewrite it. But I don't think this was the case. I literally think these characters like need to be together and be a mess together like earlier on. So goodbye to the slow burn. After we hyped it up, they won't allow me. I don't know how else to explain it. They won't allow me. It's a lot for me. I'm overwhelmed by them. I don't understand what they're doing. But then in that process, I discovered that their personalities were a lot different than I thought, because I was like, okay, based on their backstory, I think they would behave this way. Then I put them in the scene and they start to kind of not behave that way. So I started being really hard on myself. I was like, am I just writing how I wrote old books, like I'm just copying the same thing and writing it over and over again. I bet this plot is like exactly the same as My Chai Alpha, blah blah blah. Like, ignoring the fact that most fantasy, like, especially paranormal werewolf books, things like that, they do follow a similar plot progression of, like, character finds fated mate, they fall in love, they do spicy things, they have some type of conflict, and then they're happily ever after. Like, you know, it's the same thing that we know and come to expect, and that's why we like it, because the difference is in how it is done. So, while I'm still turning things on its head, I think that I shouldn't just forcibly separate them as much as I'm trying to, because it just doesn't work with how sweet they actually want to be, and it's actually hurting the story I want to tell. So I was like, oh shit, this is bad. This is really bad. Because, yeah, the emotional side of it was not hitting hard. If you know me as an author, I love to write about trauma survivors. So they've been through a lot of emotional stuff, and then they're trying to resolve that inside themselves also while growing and pushing themselves to grow. So I was like, maybe the characters are acting different in the steamy scenes because they're meant to push each other to grow through their insecurities. That's really what I felt like was different. Their insecurities would be inhibiting them in ways that they don't need to be inhibited, but they can't see that until they are together and have that trust that someone isn't going to judge them for however they are. And so I was like, oh, I gotta start over. I have to start over. What I'm keeping is anything that I feel really attached to. Some of that I will just rewrite, and I did do this with Soul Survivors. It is right here. It turned out to still be one of my favorite books I've ever written yet. So I think that it's gonna be okay, because I rewrote this whole thing and it turned out like a million times better. But I think with this story, I'm gonna keep the first 2 chapters. I love how it got set up. Now that Marcus is the first one we meet, and then I'm going to shift Ari's story to really focus on his disability, because I think at the very, very core of this, you're getting the honest truth, if you watch this part of the video, is that I am afraid to tell you and show you my process of having to confront Ari's disabilities and his internalized ableism, because that means I'm going to have to confront it too. So I think that's really interesting, and it's something that I do with every book. I do push myself to face things that make me uncomfortable, and I won't relate to them exactly, but I'll have to tell you probably how I relate to these things, because I want to. I think that part of the issue is that I've been putting so much pressure on myself, knowing that people are going to be listening to my process, which is what I wanted. And I love that you have enabled me to do that by listening to me, so thank you. I think that when I first started this, I wasn't handling it in as much of a healthy way, and I've slowly become more and more accustomed to that feeling of openly sharing. Like, I had to get myself used to it. This project, like, of documenting this is huge, because I think it's going to show through my writing. It's going to be like the characters can be a lot more vulnerable. I can tell you more about what it actually means to me and to other people that I care about, like if I'm writing from personal experience. Like, I think that's so much more meaningful. I feel good about that. I just think I needed this time, these like past 7 weeks, to get myself to that place to be like, okay, now we can really dive into this without me holding myself back. So it's a shorter update today, but I hope that was interesting and makes sense. I'm looking forward to sharing my ideas, because I think that this has actually been really freeing. I'm not like forcing myself to follow a script. Like, I kept thinking to myself on Sunday night, like, oh my god, I don't have to write. Like, the characters could literally do anything I imagine, and it's made up that I'm forcing them to do this. So I just want to give that freedom, and maybe they'll still do the same things, because part of this I did think I wrote with a clearer head and more excited feeling. I will just set aside anything that doesn't, and we'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to updating you on that. This is my last update of 2025, which is so crazy. This year has been really rough, so I'm hoping that this year is better for me, and I feel hopeful genuinely. So I hope that you do too, and if not, I will carry some of that hope for you, because I'm rooting for you that this year is going to be good. You all have really surprised me this year with how much you have stepped in and been involved from the beginning, even though my channel is an absolute baby. But like, even just showing up to my streams usernames or coming to watch and seeing your familiar usernames already coming back. Like, I was not anticipating that, so I'm excited to keep sharing with you. I have a good feeling about how much it's going to open up my creativity and my ability to actually express, because that's what art is, expression. So thank you for helping me with that. I hope that you have a happy new year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2026. Goodbye for now. Oh no, I have to do something else. I can't end the videos like this every time, like an old man scream. Okay, well, goodbye.